Welcome to another episode of Tangled Rights. I'm one of your hosts, Justin W. Wilson, along with Shane D. Cox.
Shane D. Cox. This
D
is
stands for Daniel.
not quite.
What is it? Douglas? David? Derek? Donovan?
Yeah, Donovan. No.
Shane Donovan Cox.
Yeah. Sure.
Anyway, we got an esteemed guest with us today. He's going to introduce himself in a second, but first we're going to say not legal advice, not intended to create a lawyer-client relationship. If you need counsel in your respective state that doesn't happen to be Kansas, find somebody there, or Nevada. In Kansas or Nevada, call us. Who we got?
Hi, my name is Michael Troiano. I'm a local criminal defense attorney, born and raised and bred in Las Vegas, Nevada. I've been practicing here for 17 years this October.
Ooh-wee. You and I are connected.
We are connected.
We shared space together. Let's talk about that. Explain what that was.
Absolutely. Overwhelming majority of my work, or all of my work basically, has been criminal defense since I started practicing.
Sure.
I'm not a jack of all trades. But as part of that, you have several ways in which you can get cases. You can work in the private sector, which I do. I own and operate my own firm. You can work in the public sector, which is generally considered the public defender's office, or here in Clark County, we have public defender's office as well as the special public defender's office. And then we have what's called contract attorneys or conflict counsel. And so I had my private clients, and then as I was building up my business, I took on a contract from the county, and we call it, as you know, a track, where you're assigned a specific courtroom because the case is tracked to a certain higher court, and you get X amount of cases per month. You get a set fee generally. Sometimes you can roll that into hourly billing, depending if the case is complex. And so I carried that for much longer than you did, 6.5 years. But it was a blessing. It gave me a lot of experience and a lot of trial experience, you name it. And after about 6.5 years, the business on the private side just started growing exponentially as I grew my team. And it was time for me to literally jump off that track because I wanted to make sure that I was able to provide that white glove service to my clients that we promise and promote, and the track does take a significant amount of time. And so I got off that, and I handed you the baton, and here we are.
And now I handed it to some guy.
Some guy. You were just some guy before.
I was.
Now
no,
we're on
like,
your podcast.
Nobody knows him. I guess he was an attorney for a while, and he's an older attorney. He didn't do criminal forever, and now he's back into it. It's like initially before I was even off the track, but once he'd already signed up for it, he would just kind of come and hang out and like watch court, which I thought was pretty smart. It's like making sure he's, hey, what do I need to do? Remember what you need to say. Because I do think that's a thing for people. You meet attorneys and let's say that they're smart in one area, like PI guys that come into like Bonaventure, right? Mm-hmm. And you see them in there and then they're so nervous just to say, oh, we've received a copy of the complaint, waive its reading, enter not guilty plea, confirm his counsel, set for bench trial.
Right.
Basic shit, but they just don't know the right way to say it. And so I thought it was pretty smart of him to do that.
I think it's very smart. I was in a murder sentencing this morning, and I'm assuming he's civil because I did not recognize the face, and I essentially, after doing it so many years, recognize essentially most, if not all, faces who are exclusive in criminal defense or overwhelming majority. And middle of the prosecutor's argument, end of the calendar, courtroom's clear because we got victim speakers, it's the whole shebang, and he just like walks right up to the clerk, and judge stopped it and was like, what the heck are you doing? And he's like, oh, I thought it was at 10. And she's like, no, it's at 9. And her calendar, it's at 9, but it starts at 8:59, if you're not early or late kind of thing, which I love.
Which judge is that?
Judge Jones.
Oh, that's good because the alternative is also true, and it is not fun. Where 9:30 could mean 9:45, it could mean 9:50,
yes.
It could mean whatever it means.
Sometimes you could take that to your advantage, though, because as you know, as criminal practitioners, some days we're running around the valley doing things, so you need the court to understand that. Most judges do. They understand criminal attorneys are all over the place. Henderson, North Las Vegas, downtown.
Boulder City.
The city of Las Vegas moved across the street, so it's right there, but it's not as convenient as it used to be when it's in the same building. So there's kind of give and take. But yeah, when you've got a light day and you don't have too many places to be, and it's a 9 a.m. calendar, and that judge consistently doesn't show up till 10. The one day you show up at 10, they're there right at 9.
Where are you guys at? I got to get to my golf game. Let's go.
Where are we going?
Yeah, that's funny.
All right. So I don't think you've seen an episode before because you're a busy criminal practitioner. The premise is we normally have stories that are in the news, and mostly we always talk about criminal law because I think that is the most interesting thing. More people have police encounters than anything else. Anybody could be pulled over for anything. Last week we had one where somebody had a plastic covering on their license plate, and that was the basis that they were pulled over in another state in Arkansas. I've never had somebody pulled over for that here in Nevada or Las Vegas, but
So I picked up the Boulder City Muni prosecutor track. I'm taking over for Tommy.
Recently.
Yeah.
very recently.
I'm the guy
yes.
out there now.
I didn't know Tommy left, and I didn't know
It's
you
a
joined.
transit.
So it's a transition. He's still
yeah.
on it. I'm subbing through him, but he's like, because they didn't, you know how small towns are. They want to make sure we like this guy first. And that's fair because you got to deal with him. Like he's your guy. And so they all seem to like me. I've tricked them also, which is nice into thinking I'm a nice guy. No, but one of my police reports I just read on a verified complaint. That was one of the bases. There was two bases. Otherwise, I'd have been like, this is a problem.
I haven't seen an actual license plate clear cover, but I can understand the argument for it. They're probably going to say that they couldn't clearly see it because it was dusty, dirty, or whatever.
Or
it
a
be.
shine, like if a light hits it.
Yeah, there's some kind of obstruction. But
The
I
traffic
have,
cameras can't see them as well. Yeah.
absolutely. But I have seen the traffic plate, the license plate light is out, which is one of the most insignificant yet justifiable reasons under the law to pull somebody over.
So I've only had that one time, and the one time was on a DUI case. Turns out it wasn't out. And the way I was able to find it is it just so happened, you know how body cam is a lot of times when they initiate the stop, they turn it on, you get 30 seconds back. You usually only see like the top of the steering wheel and the window, but you can't see much out, maybe a little bit of the car.
Yeah.
This guy was short or something because the way that the body cam was, you could see the vehicle he was going to pull over. And when he turned, because he lit him up, he turned onto like a side street off Sunset right over by the airport, pretty close to where I live. The truck was out of the police cruiser's headlights, so you could see all the lights clearly, including the tail light or the tag light.
Were there any other reasons to pull him over?
No.
No, I said he didn't use turn signal. Turn signal. It was also on when he turned, like when he turned to turn over after he initiated the stop. But yeah, I got it dismissed.
I was going to say, I want more so what was the prosecutor's reaction when you showed them definitive proof that their cop made a serious mistake?
It was Yu Meng. And
we're dropping names here. Okay.
He's pieced out. So,
you're awesome. He's up in Reno.
But he also, he did the right thing.
Good.
So why wouldn't I call him out for that? That's not a call out. That's a gold star.
No.
I showed it to him and he did the right thing.
That doesn't surprise me. He's a good dude and a great prosecutor. So.
Yeah. And so that was the only time I've seen that. And you know how it is because they're like, it works, dude. It works right now. And he showed me a picture of it. And I'm like, all right, well, we need to be able to show that it worked then because it could be a new bulb, whatever, a new bulb. But it just so happened the video caught it. Thank God. Because most of the times it doesn't.
And did you write that officer on your special file for future DUI cases and save that for impeachment?
Didn't.
Next time.
we can get it.
I've still got it.
There you go.
I've still got the file.
You got to have a list. You got to have a special list. You got to preserve that. So if he comes up in a future case that's not as clear cut as that, you could try to introduce that as impeachment evidence against the officer.
That is smart. You are a smart guy.
I've done this once or twice.
He's been doing it a while. A lot of DUIs, I'm guessing, too.
I'm writing it down right now.
I've done about 3,000 or more DUIs. My first job as a private attorney, as a young associate, was with somebody else who owned and operated their own firm, and the majority of that practice was DUIs, which DUIs are a great way to start. I know people hate on it, or a lot of times people, oh, it's easy. My cousin's a family lawyer. He's just going to go there and do the case for me. Not in today's climate. DUIs are becoming more and more dangerous, prevalent. I mean, I guess they've always been dangerous, but much more public scrutiny. It's not like, back in the 80s, so they're just like, all right, pour out your beer, drive home, don't do it again.
Did you see that video of those people, like when they made DUI law a thing, and they're like, they're trying to make it where you can't have 2 beers and drive home, taking our freedom. Next thing you know, we'll be communists.
Yes.
They were right. Isn't that crazy? Those people were right.
I've seen that video, and it's hilarious.
It's brilliant. Huh? Oh, it's the same shit. And they talked to a bunch of blue collar people that are just like, they just got off work, so they had a tough day. And it's like, those are not the people you want to try to get the opinions of right then, because they're probably not in the best headspace.
I don't know if it's the same video, but he looks like that. There's a guy in it where it's pretty viral, where he looks like that. I forget that cartoon character, but he's got kind of like the bangs that come down a little and like the buck teeth or whatever. And he starts saying, yeah, I think you have 2 beers, 4 beers. Make it 6 beers. He keeps rounding up to the amount of beers that you should be able to have. And he's like dead serious. Like, yeah, I'd like to know where that guy is today.
Man.
He definitely made my day.
The 80s would have been just wild to like be a grown up in.
Oh, I was
not
going
a
to say,
child.
like, when were you born?
86.
I'm 83. I mean,
So
yeah, I was not a grown up in the 80s, but
you also weren't able to do any cool. I mean, you're 7, right? Like, what are you going to do?
I think the biggest cool thing, and people say now, and for younger viewers out there, is that it was true. Like, street lights come on, you come home.
Yeah.
No cell phones. We were wilding out. And, now I have kids and we live like basically you cross the street, there's a nice, beautiful park, and then their elementary school. Like, it can't get much safer than that. And I've had these conversations with my wife. It's like, are we even going to let her in 5th grade do that? And she's already asking in kindergarten. And we're like, I like the independence. I like where you're going with this, but we don't live in that world anymore.
Oh, yeah. That aspect is true. Man, I was thinking about it from like the cool, positive way, but yeah, you're right.
I got all negative on you.
Yeah, I mean, not negative. It's just, it sucks, dude. Like, especially once you become a father, right? Like, I thought about things and I understood things conceptually, but now that I got a son, like, he loves going outside. He likes just sitting in front of the house, and he likes vehicles. He likes cars. Disney cars is his thing. So he'll see truck, dad, mama, Mimi. Like, cause he'll look at the color of a vehicle and he says, Mimi. And it's like, no, that's not your grandma's car. It's just a car, buddy. But he wants to walk out, and then he wants to walk to the edge of Sandhill. Sandhill's the closest main street from the neighborhood street.
Okay.
It's okay, so we'll walk down there, but it's like, oh, I walk him down here, and they're like, what happens the day he gets out? Where's he going to go? And I just start tripping about like just being near the road for a baby, like much less like going to a park or whatever for a younger kid. It's like, it's creepy.
It's not hyperbole. It's science. I mean, there's chemistry that changes your brain. And so much of it's focused on a woman because obviously they go through the pregnancy, they hold the baby, they nurture it, they bond with it. And yes, women have quite a different bond than fathers,
Sure.
but there are definitely a lot of psychological and physiological changes in the male human mind when they have a child. So it's not just a saying or a thing. It's legitimate. It absolutely changes you.
Yeah. I don't know. It's weird.
Right? You got 5 of them.
I got a lot of kids.
Is it like once you have so many of them, you get like the needle wraps back around and you're like, oh, whatever. He'll be fine.
They start raising each other.
They'll be fine.
That's what I'm told.
But the big one's watching the little one. I don't know.
We do. Yes. My oldest kid is starting to babysit now, the younger kids, and it's insanely great. It's fantastic. But
How old?
12.
So it's only been 12 years that you
it's
were in
taken a while.
purgatory, and now you can finally, I need to go to the grocery store. You got these guys,
It's not
right?
too far. Yeah, never too far. And as
That's
they
what
get
I meant,
older,
like-
it'll get farther and further that we'll go. But
Right? I can run down and get a Diet Coke or whatever it is that you like.
yeah.
Well, that's a big
Whichever one I
difference
like.
now. It's, speaking on the topic of criminal laws, 12-year-old in the 80s, 90s, maybe even 2000s.
Overnight baby watching.
You can run to 7-Eleven, whatever your pleasure is, and go grab some groceries, head back, be reasonable. Hell, I mean, I want to say around that age, I was the babysitter of my younger siblings, and my parents would rarely go out on a date night for like an hour or two and get something to eat. And now I don't know if I'd leave a 12-year-old at home, and because I don't want child abuse charges to be brought on me for neglect.
And that's tough in our spot. See it because we've seen people charged with anything, and that's what I always think. And my wife's like, "It'll be fine," and I'm like, "If anything happens to those kids, I'm picking up charges. They're just going to charge me." And
if one falls and breaks its arm while you're not there, on some freak stuff that would have happened if you were there anyway, you're probably getting charges.
Yeah.
CPS is going to get involved, especially if they have to call the ambulance. Like if the 12-year-old does what the 12-year-old ought to do, there's an emergency, freaks out, calls the ambulance.
Yeah. And what's the only way, I really get to tell my story? Because I should shut up the whole case unless we take it to trial, right? So it's like, and that's risky and scary.
And CPS just rubber stamps it. Anything that happens, they have a decision to make, substantiated, unsubstantiated. So many of my child abuse cases, whether they're legitimate or totally like, what are we even doing here as far as the criminal court aspect? On the CPS side, they're just stamp it, substantiated. Clients want to appeal, and I'll just tell them, like, listen, I'm in business to make money. I'm also in business to help people. Like, there's not much you can do on the CPS side, especially
you have
when
to go through their plan and just do
you have to eat it. You got to eat it. And yes, you can fight, and that might sound defeatist, but I'm also pragmatic. And if we are fighting the big battle, which is your freedom and a criminal charge, and all of that context, regardless of where you stand as a lawyer, because you've got license issues and all these things, maybe the CPS thing. Yeah, I just tell clients like, listen, I don't like to handle that. Deal with the family plan. Get reunited with your children as soon as humanly possible, because you can act like a tough guy all day, but when a state or any kind of government agency, some bureaucrat has the power to say, yeah, I'll just withhold your children from you. You'll do anything. You'll confess to murder as long as you could bring them home. And I don't need my clients confessing to anything, especially when they didn't do it. Like you said, be quiet. So avoid CPS being in your life, even if you're a great parent, because they don't care.
Dude, I had one that called me on a domestic. He ended up not retaining, but I, gave him some advice because it's kind of what happens. You know how it is.
Yeah, free consultations on the website.
So he gets into a fight with his mom and his mom's boyfriend, like an argument. It escalates. There's physical stuff. There's self-defense claims, whatever. Well, CPS gets wind of it somehow. They then start putting pressure on the baby mama because he's around, because I guess the mom that he argued with called CPS and on top of calling the police, made a bunch of claims that weren't substantiated. There was no whatever, but CPS is now threatening the mom, saying, hey, we're going to take your kids from you unless you get a TPO against him. Don't let him see the kids. So I've seen it where, and I verified this, I called somebody that works over at the family court just to be like, hey, does this happen? Oh, absolutely. CPS will try and strong arm people sometimes because they get it in their head that this is what they need to do because it's in the best interest of the kid. And they'll put pressure on like a non-affiliated party to try to get them to get some sort of protection or some sort of order against the defendant, the bad person, the person who puts the children in danger, allegedly, to try to keep them from their kids.
Oh, I've seen that.
And that was the first time I'd ever seen that, and I was blown away. I was like, bro, there aren't even charges yet.
I've seen it a ton of times, even more specifically in the context of sexual allegations. You'll have either biological dad or stepdad. Women do get charged, but it's generally dad.
Yeah,
so that's why, like, God bless you if you're a stepfather out there raising other people's kids. I believe that we firmly need a society where kids are being raised by people that love them, regardless of the biological status.
Sure.
It's an honorable thing, but I would have a very difficult time advising anybody to, on a personal level, to do that, because not only do biological fathers get charged and accused, stepfathers all day. You're like target number one. If the relationship breaks down with the wife, the mom, as well as government agencies, because they think even more so that's likely that a stepfather did some kind of action. You'll get cases that are completely uncredible, and I won't get into all the details unless you guys want me to. But I mean, yeah, we get it as defense attorneys. We have clients that there's a substantial amount of evidence. But we also get plenty of clients that it's just an accusation in the sexual context. And it blows clients' minds. And the first time usually they hear it is when they're in my office facing charges. But all they need is someone to literally point the finger and say, this guy touched me. Nothing else. There's no physical evidence, no cooperation, nothing. If the state can convince a jury that this guy touched me with nothing else, they can get conviction. And if you're under 14, it's 35 to life. You do every single day of that 35 years. And deservedly so if you actually touched a child under 14.
Sure.
Under 16, 25 years to life, and they need no other cooperation at all. And I've had some extremely nonsensical cases where the victim refuses, or the accuser refuses to get a sexual assault SANE exam to prove it, because they'll say, yeah, I'm sick from 6 to 9 years old, and I had a case like this. My stepfather raped me in every hole imaginable almost anytime he can get his hands on me. And they're like, great, let's do a sexual assault kit. This should demonstrate some sort of damage, because we would all agree somebody in that age range not getting penetrated consensually, they can't consent at that age. I'm like, no thanks. And then we'll have proof and documentation that the allegation, or the disclosure as they call it, came like right after they were disciplined. Cell phone. You take away the kid's cell phone. I don't know how many times I've had cases where the cell phone gets taken away.
And that's the catalyst.
And then they point and say, stepdaddy touched me. And
Jesus,
you'll have mothers align and say, no, this guy's been in her life since the day she was born. As soon as I got pregnant, biological father stepped out and bounced. I have biological children with him. He's doing all the right things. Like, all these things aren't making sense. I do her laundry. I would see something if all these things were happening. And CPS will then make those threats, even like you said, whether or not the state case or the criminal case is actually proceeded. They'll say, you are aligned. That's the verbiage they use. You are aligned with your daughter's perpetrator and predator. And if you don't step up and get a TPO or basically say, yep, he's a scumbag with no proof whatsoever, then we're going to say that you're an offending parent and you're abusing and neglecting your child by not protecting her. And I think there's not a fine line, but a very broad line between a naive parent who just has their head in the sand and won't protect their children, because I've seen those cases as well when it's clear that there's abuse, and then a parent who's like, listen, I know my kid is young or may have mental issues or whatever it may be and know the context. I want to believe her. We all want to believe our children. That's our instinct as parents. But at the same time, I've known this guy for a long time, and if you're showing me no other information that demonstrates it, based on all these particular facts, and they'll still put the hammer on them. So that's, stepfathers out there. Yeah, it is disgusting. God bless you. It's a great job to be around those children's lives. Sure. But man, it's perilous.
If I wouldn't have had a stepdad in my life, shout out to my dad, Bobby. I don't know what I'd be, truly. Like, he was the only, like, not the only, but the guiding good principle, good example in my life. And I mean, fuck, I almost didn't turn out good. You've met me, right? But like, without him, I don't know where I'd be.
We're all hanging by a string till they gave us that law degree.
Sure. But like, so yeah, I'm all for the whole step parent thing, because I had such a great one. But that sucks. And now that you mention that, I do remember hearing that before, that they're the ones that get charged mostly. It's like a much higher percentage.
Yeah, just because it happens.
Sure.
It disgustingly happens. Biological parents do things to their children, but it passes the smell test from the authorities a lot quicker and easier if it's stepdad. They're just like, oh, yep, I see it every day. Yep, yeah.
So do you think that there's some kind of, like, I don't know what you'd want to call it, with the CPS or with the state sometimes, where they just kind of shut their logic off, and they take the believe all victims principle, like, to the letter, just completely, like, too far to lack any objectivity, to say, oh, well, given all these circumstances, it only happened after the cell phone, nothing else. Mom saying no. Because I've heard of those cases and seen a lot of cases in different contexts where it's like the state just goes in on them, and it's like, well, what about all this other shit?
I mean, there's a lot of different ways to answer that question.
And don't be diplomatic. We like spice over here.
I love spice too. We got to work with the other side of the bench every day for our clients, and make sure that we've got their best interests in mind. So without throwing a firebomb in the middle, I'll say this. I've had those conversations with certain people on the other side of the bench and really advocating for a client. And not always, but sometimes they'll say, with some kind of smirk or attitude, "Oh, you think every one of your clients innocent?" And I'm like, what? Okay, do you think every victim
is telling the truth?
Is telling the truth? And the problem is, if you're a prosecutor, you have to convince yourself of that, because, as you know, they have to have a reasonable or good faith belief that they can prosecute the case, that it occurred, and that they can convince a jury that it happened, all proof beyond a reasonable doubt. Like, there's an ethical duty. So when you reverse that question on a prosecutor, it's very like, they don't want that. I'll put it this way. I've never been asked that question a second time by a prosecutor, because whether you have a good relationship with them, which is always the goal, a good working relationship, or a not so good relationship, if I'm ever asked, or if you're ever asked, that's my advice. Do you believe every client is innocent? Like, do you believe every one of your victims? And because they'll either be like, yeah, of course, and be like, okay, like, then that kind of shows, because you know cases have fallen apart, and you've eventually found out later that it's not the truth. Yeah. But legally, factually, and ethically, that is required, because if at any point a prosecutor actually believes and says it out loud that they don't believe they can prove that case beyond a reasonable doubt, they should not be pushing for a better plea deal or something like that. They should be like, yep, I can't do it, and I'll dismiss the case. Yep. But there's a lot of honest prosecutors out there that will tell you that this case is awful and they feel bad for your client. But it's your job as the attorney, as the advocate, to point that out, because nobody wants to believe this, but a client is just another number and a cog in a system. Soylent Green, like
people too.
For, I guess, I don't know the age range of your audience, but that Soylent Green reference, they might want to look that up. You know Soylent Green?
Okay.
Also, my dad,
yeah, so we'll leave it at this. Google or whatever, DuckDuckGo, your Soylent Green. It'll take you down an interesting rabbit hole, and you'll find a really good movie and a book that'll get you in on what we're talking
And
about.
it's probably on Audible for you people that actually don't know how to read. Everybody under 28.
Audible's-
Not that you don't know how to read, it's you just don't have the attention span because your phones have rotted your brain. What do you call it, Austin?
Brain rot.
No,
Brain
but
rot.
it's isn't it tick brain or something like that?
No, that's what we call it. It's brain rot.
Oh,
That's
okay.
what you call it on TikTok. Is brain rot.
Oh, because
I like doom scrolling. That's my
doom
favorite
scrolling is
term.
the thing, but like there's when doom scrolling, when that fucks with your brain to where when you're out in public, you can't focus on things for more than a certain number of time, and you get like bored and you got to go to the next thing. It's screwing with like their attention spans or something.
Oh,
supposedly.
absolutely. I mean, that's
Our neurotransmitters or whatever.
Right.
I don't
are all
have any of
fried.
those.
Okay, good.
those are gone.
Why would I have
So you got
those?
some videos for us?
I always have videos.
Oh,
Let's see the video.
That's my job here is to
Okay.
bring the videos, okay?
What episode are we on?
We're on episode 73.
Oh,
Episode 73. We've been doing this almost a year and a
That's a
half.
significant number in Chinese culture.
why?
No,
Okay.
it's just making that shit up.
You had me going.
I was like, sick, man. We can put that right next
Kids are
to
born a year there.
There you go.
73.
all right,
Square foot.
I'll set up this video a little bit. This is in Utah, okay, outside of Logan, so north of Logan, very rural area. There was a car crash, okay. One car that's obviously being driven into a car that's parked on the side of the road, and the car is totaled, okay. They know that it is this guy's son who was the driver. They had already exchanged
Wow, Logan's way up
information.
there, bro.
Yeah, this is where Utah State University is.
Logan's right up there by the.
It is.
I'm familiar with the area, yeah.
All right.
I didn't know it was that far north. I thought it was closer to
It's
Salt
pretty close
Lake.
to Idaho.
I mean, yeah, it's right
It's
by
very,
the border. Yeah.
Very
It's
close
right
to the
by the
Idaho
border.
border.
It looks like the next. There's only
It's
Two
in
towns.
Smithfield out of. Yeah,
Okay.
Smithfield.
Yeah, all right.
You're seeing there. Very small town. There's farming areas around there. I happen to have some family that lives there that knows this guy that I just happened upon on Instagram. So this guy is a city councilman in Smithfield, and his son was involved in a car crash. The cops come to investigate because the victim, we'll say, his car's been totaled, says he wants to do a police report. Okay, so we'll
Okay,
watch
his car got
clips
totaled,
of
fine.
this. All right.
Why are you here?
He's asking you which car is
Yeah,
involved.
I want to know why there's two officers responding to such a simple thing.
Because there can be.
We pay a lot of money for you guys in the city.
Okay.
And I decide whether the budget's good or not. And so I think you should go patrol Main Street, do your job, and I'll talk to him and I'll deal with this.
Okay.
Go patrol Main Street. I'm
Actually,
not
I'll
dangerous.
talk to him.
Look, guys, we pay
no,
so much
listen,
money for
man.
this.
Okay.
Hey, look, I
Why don't you
decide.
just hang out for a second?
Go patrol
And
Main
we'll
Street. Make
see.
yourself useful. Come on, guys. Go patrol Main Street. Make yourself.
Yes, he called me.
Yeah, see, this is the problem, and your guys' lack of training blows my mind.
Okay.
It blows my mind. Hey, Ted, I'm here. There was an accident. The person whose
Will
car
you please
owned.
not step up on
No,
me?
no, I'm telling.
I'm asking
No,
you
no, no,
not
no,
to.
no, no. I'm telling you how you're supposed to do your job because you obviously don't know. Look, listen. Hey, Ted, the person that your son hit earlier has asked that I make a police report. I'm here to do that. Instead, you show up like you're an FBI agent doing some big secret thing. Like, who trained you? I want to know who trained
Okay.
you.
Can I get your son's name?
How old are you?
Can I get your son's name?
How old are you?
Okay.
How long have you been?
Are
how long have you been?
going
how long have you been
to
in,
impede an
how long-
investigation?
No. Are you? Do you have a warrant to be here?
I'm on public property right now.
I'll cooperate with you, but you
I'm trying
No,
to.
no. You guys have got to learn how to do your job right. We are botching so many things in the city because of you guys, and you know that. You're aware of everything, and I'm aware of everything.
Can
and I love that you want me to answer your questions, but you won't answer mine.
He does.
Sorry, that was like too good. I didn't expect you to come out with a banger.
Hey, yeah, we always got bangers here. Come watch Tangled Rise.
that was
He
wild.
does then make a phone call to the city manager, and he's on the phone with him for a while. And his name is Justin, and he kept saying, "Justin, I just can't believe this." And he's talking about Justin. We're going to defund these guys, Justin. And he kept saying Justin, Justin, Justin all the time. And it's almost like a threat to them that he's going to take
Cut
away their
their
money,
budget
cut
because
their
they asked him
budget
questions.
because two of them showed up. That was the problem. He's going to only have 5 cops, 2 in the mornings, 2 in the afternoons, and 1 overnight. That's what he says. And I'm like, I don't know if you know how weekends and vacations work,
No.
but all right, whatever.
Well,
All right, let's hear your thoughts.
Yeah.
Mr. Tryon.
you want me to start?
He said he didn't think I'd have that big of a banger, that good of a video. I had a great video.
That was a banger.
Yes, clutched it.
Like, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you think that you could be a cop and not want to shake that dude or grab him by the neck? Because if you talk to me that way, my inclination is going to be stop resisting, whack, whack, whack. Like,
Yeah. Law enforcement definitely wasn't my goal growing up. I started telling people in 6th grade that not only was I going to be an attorney, but I was going to be a criminal defense attorney. So that's just kind of my weird but true story. You could
did you
look
wear bow
at
ties as a kid?
bow ties. No.
Did you go to the first day of law school in a full suit? Is that what you're
wore-
trying to tell us?
You did. You did, you motherfucker. You did.
I wore starter jackets and
What team?
Charlotte
my
Hornets,
whole
baby.
family is from Pennsylvania, so Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Gross.
So, so those.
I still have
those are all those.
my starter jacket from the
Yeah.
Cowboys.
I definitely was a hip
reversible.
hop head kid growing up. So no, I wasn't wearing a bow tie. Did not
Okay.
wear a suit to law school.
But you wanted to be an attorney.
I saw
Rocking your Jordans. And
I
your,
saw The Godfather one day, and for the younger viewers that haven't seen that, please watch it. It's a
Good movie.
banger. And one of my favorite scenes from that movie is when the lawyer, they call the consigliere, comes out of the store around Christmas, and this war is either popping off or about to pop off between the families that are feuding in The Godfather. And the muscle comes out, they see him, he gives them that look like, you're not running. So he knows better, just gets in the limo, and he's frightened, as you would be if a mob boss unexpectedly after you're shopping puts you into their vehicle, and he just looks at him and says, don't worry. And he's like, you're just the lawyer. We're not here to harm you. And I thought, wow, that kind of clicked. I could be around all this cool, exciting, crazy stuff, and unless you've watched Carlito's Way, where if you cross that line, yet another banger movie as the lawyer, and you just do your job and fight for your clients and care about them, win, lose, or draw. Even with some people that are allegedly dangerous, they'll have respect for what you do. So that's kind of how I got in that path. So no, I don't think I've ever worn a bone tie, and I rock hoodie and basketball shorts as soon as the suit's off.
Sick.
Yeah, but you had a question about the video?
Yeah.
Well, you had a lot of comments while we were watching.
I
give me
was
your thoughts.
jumping out of my seat.
Give me your thoughts. What do you got?
I mean,
like,
talk about a sense of entitlement. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, you hear the term a lot, and it could trigger people on the left or right. This whole white privilege, is it real? Is it all used all the time? Like, I don't know if that's white privilege, but that's probably the clearest example I've seen of white privilege or some kind of privilege. Being a city councilman, you're in a position of power in politics. He's got a huge house. That thing's got to cost a lot. He's definitely rich.
so I think it is a color privilege,
There you go.
but I'm going to say it's green privilege.
There you go. And
I don't
yes,
know if there's anything but white in that town either. Like,
True.
that's a very wide area.
That's
yeah,
a
so
pretty
maybe not
homogenous-
racial, but more socioeconomic. He's definitely got money. He's definitely
Somebody.
book smart, not very smart in that video, but he came out just firing. And what I was commenting to when we were watching it in live time was so many things is you would assume by his visceral reaction that his son, which again, we were talking about earlier in the beginning of the podcast about family and fathers and all that stuff. I'm sure that he was emotional and hyped up. He was acting as if like his son just committed a murder or he was like high or drunk in the house. And I'm just going to assume based on where we're at now with the case that there's been no allegations that he was under the influence, that it was just a teenager who made a bad decision and got in an accident.
Negligence.
Negligent accident. We all do. To be that fired up over that and that extreme where assuming the father was sober, which I think he looked sober in the video, but being in a position of power, being a lawyer, being in an area where you probably know all the cops and every person to do, on a first name basis, he just thought he can kind of go away. And even in small towns like that can't happen anymore. They have body cam footage. He was extremely abrasive. That was probably one of the worst ways to deal with them, especially that was something that was so minor. A
They're
traffic
there to
ticket.
take a report, not even a ticket. Probably they're probably there to just get the accident report, the
Yeah.
TAR, so that they can submit it for an insurance claim or something.
Yeah.
which is less than a civil citation. It's just, hey, this is what happened. Here's our fault determination, insurance company.
He did nothing to help the situation or his son. You could see the wife in the background coming in towards the middle or the end of the video with her arms crossed. And she's just got that look like, here we go again. Like, I don't think this is this guy's first rodeo. And
No.
I think a little anger management, some counseling is in line, counselor.
That probably is. One comment I want to make is he mentions a warrant, which, is an interesting question, but I mean, we always comment on whether or not somebody has a warrant, because do you want to have a contact with police unless there's a warrant? And usually the answer is no. And can he refuse to talk to them?
I mean, he's not required to talk to him. I mean, there's no requirement, but sometimes it would be a little bit more common sense. Like, yeah, if your son, family member, friend comes home, they're clearly intoxicated and they're like, something really bad just happened. Yeah, I'm locking those doors and I'm calling the best lawyer that I know and I'm getting that retainer paid as soon as possible to protect them. And I'm not interacting with law enforcement or speaking to them. And that's what you should do. They come home and it's like, Dad, I screwed up. I got in a traffic accident. Okay, figure this out. Because all you could do is make it worse. A hit and run, whatever it may be. I mean, what we saw in the video didn't escalate to it, but I've seen videos that have gone to 0 to 60 that end up with the dad in cuffs. Because there's cops with a lot less cooler heads than him, like Justin was alluding to earlier. If we gave him a badge for a day, bad idea.
Or it'd be a good idea.
Yeah, right. And
I'd get a lot of shit done in an efficient way.
There he goes. So I absolutely think that in that situation, having common sense, the guy is clearly educated, clearly older, has been through a couple of things in life, to just be like, okay, accident. What do you need? Let's get it done. But to completely shut it down, if that's your goal, fine. You don't want to talk to law enforcement officers. You're not required to. But he did the absolute complete opposite of that. He turned up the heat and basically threatened them and tried to tell them how to do their job, criticize their training.
Ugh.
Even if a case is garbage, like absolute garbage from the prosecutor's standpoint, like they got a lot of problems. And as a defense attorney, you want a case that the prosecution has a lot of problems. When you watch the body cam and your client or your client's family members absolutely disrespects law enforcement, they put a nice little special star on your file, and it makes life a lot more difficult.
Yep.
And that's why I say commonly in consultations with clients, I'm like, listen, if everything you are telling me is true, I think we're solid. I think we're in a good position. No guarantees, no honest attorney guarantees a result. I consider myself an honest attorney. He's laughing because he says it every day, just like I have to in a consultation.
Yeah, well, I'm laughing because I know of a couple attorneys in town that will guarantee things.
Yeah, and
I'm not saying any names.
Do you know what I tell clients who say that they got a guarantee and want a guarantee before they retain?
We say get in writing.
There you go. You know, I say,
Get a retainer.
I say, awesome. I said, this is what I want you to do. Go back to that office, tell them to put it in writing on their letterhead. You bring it back to me. I will do your case pro bono, and I'll do the next case pro bono. And then they laugh, and then they hire me most of the time.
That's more clear. I'm like, dude, what I say is first, get it in the retainer. Go with them. The guarantee is awesome. If they can do that, if they're the kind of attorney they know they can, that's great. Because that's what you want. If you had a magic wand, that's the attorney you'd want. But then when the case is done, I want you to tell me what happened.
Right.
And they do the same thing. They laugh, and they're like, all right, whatever.
And just to be clear, attorneys cannot guarantee results, and that's why no attorney would ever put that in writing, because as soon as that document got out, you could just walk right in the state bar. Here you go. And the last thing an attorney wants, whether it's frivolous or realistic, is to have to deal with the state bar.
And if it's realistic like
license.
that, I know a guy who prosecutes for the state bar now, and I guarantee you he would take you to task on that.
Oh,
Mr. Vasic.
I'd imagine anyone would. That is
He is
one of the easiest, clearest violation.
Sure.
Let me extrapolate from this video that we watched, and I'll give you some more information about it. And I want to tell you if there is enough to do a DUI investigation, okay?
Okay.
If there's enough. So supposedly the kid hits his car, calls his parents show up to the scene. Nobody's home. It's just a parked car in front of a house.
Okay, I'm sorry. This is not a hypothetical. This is what happened.
This is what happened,
Okay.
but also they don't do a DUI investigation, but the hypothetical, if they could or should have. So they send the kid home. So the kid drives home from the scene. The dad stays by the car. He claims to stay there a half an hour for the car owner to get home to exchange insurance information. So it's not a hit and run per se, I think. So you have the same question that some other people might have had. Is this kid drunk? Like, is that really the reason? He comes up with a story that he's like, had dropped some food and went to look for some food and accidentally veered off. who knows, right? People come up with all sorts of stories, DUI talking to the cops. So who knows what's true and what's not. Is that enough now that the kid has fled the scene, fled, we'll put in quotes, is that enough for a DUI investigation as putting your criminal defense attorney hat on?
Well, I want to make a distinction between actually arresting him and charging him and what I think you're asking investigation.
Sure.
Yeah, I think there's enough for an officer to investigate. I don't care about his age. He's old enough to drive. He's old enough to be responsible for what all the responsibilities that are in line with driving a vehicle, because you can kill people, and he should be held accountable for that. So absolutely, the officers should say, I want to see him face to face. He was in an accident. He's not here. They don't have any further information. At a minimum, they should contact him, have a discussion, look at him, and see.
Make sure he's not hurt.
That as well.
Because, like, what if you're in the crash, you hit your head, you don't realize that you're fucked up because you've got a brain injury and you're bleeding inside, and then you die. That happens every day.
Yeah, and that's part of law enforcement's job too, is to render aid.
Yeah.
So no, I think that at a minimum they should have contacted him. Absolutely.
So they screwed up by not investigating harder, right? Instead of coming too aggressively.
It's a tough situation because I don't know the officer's experience or not. I mean, they were questioned in that video pretty harshly. I think he had enough experience, especially like, how old are you? And those kind of questions that are obviously
condescending
and rude. And he definitely held his own in that position, because that people respond to those kind of comments not so politely because it's condescending and rude, like you said. But I think you kind of de-escalate it to a point that you can, and then you got to make a decision. Be like, sir, like, I need to see your son. Now, they couldn't have forced him to come out of the house, but I would have definitely expected them to make efforts to say, hey, like, this isn't a big deal, but he was there. I need to see him. And I
want to hear his side of the story.
And that's a common thing that the cops say as well. I want to hear the side of the story. Your side of the story, 99.9% of the time, never helps. So to be clear, I think the father acted irrationally, rude, and didn't help the situation. At the same time,
he kind of did the right thing by
telling his kid to sit in the house. But the right thing, and I just wouldn't even open the door. Be like, hey, what's going on? Great, cool. Send us a ticket. Have a good day. And then sweat it out to see how long they're going to hang around to do that. But there's no reason. If you're not cooperating with law enforcement, that's fine. You're not required to speak with them. But there's a massive difference between that and doing what this guy did on the video.
Sure. I do wonder if there's some kind of, because like we have fleeing the scene of a property damage crash. I wonder if they've got something like that, and like
I'm sure
where that would fall. And then as you were asking that question, I'm thinking, how long do you have to hang around before it's not fleeing the scene? Like if I hit your car on the side of the road because, I'm reaching for something or whatever, shit.
You can leave information, though.
And I leave my information. Am I good then?
Generally, there's a duty to exchange at a minimum. Right. And I represent a lot of clients in just like the hit and run cases. Now, in Nevada, there's a huge distinction, and they do this because they want to avoid people who have DUIs fleeing, like we think may or may not happen in this situation. So if you're in a DUI, like you stay on the scene, they grab you, they get your blood, all that good stuff, drugs, alcohol, whatever. If you're in a DUI and somebody is injured, what we call substantial bodily harm, that's a felony.
Ooh-wee. And it's also something else on top of being a felony. It's mandatory. Prison time.
Yep, 2 to 20 years, mandatory. So if you plead to that charge and you can't get a reduction or get a dismissal or acquittal at trial, you're going to prison. But what's more interesting about the hit and run aspect of it is if you get a hit and run misdemeanor, like just property damage or nobody was injured, it's a misdemeanor charge, still serious, can have a lot of negative consequences. But if you get a hit and run for bodily injury, and to be clear, not substantial bodily harm, which I just talked about in the DUI, but just bodily injury, which is a much lower burden than substantial bodily harm, which is already pretty broad in its context.
Sure.
They can charge you with a felony for that as well. And that's to incentivize people to not flee. So if you get in a hit and run, even if you were dead sober and that person had bodily injury, which is bare bones, not substantial bodily harm, they upgrade and charge that to a felony. And
what category is it? That's not the Cat B. That's the 2 to 20, like fleeing the scene of an injury collision.
I think it's a 1 to 6. That's my guesstimate. Don't quote me on that.
Because the reckless driving resulting in injury is a Cat B, and it's 1 to 6, I think. The fleeing the scene of an injury is 2 to 20, mandatory, non-probationable. So I'm just trying. I don't remember the one you're talking about exactly.
Off the top of my head, I don't know the exact sentence structure. I don't know if you're pulling it up, but that's my estimate that a hit and run with bodily injury is a felony charge.
Cat B.
Cat B.
Cat B.
B as in boy.
2 to 20.
2 to 20. Oh, so even
And
more
that is
so.
the mandatory one.
And that makes sense because that correlates with a DUI charge. So they're basically saying you're not going to get rewarded because you fled the scene and we can't prove that you're DUI. So
Right.
it mirrors the DUI charge of DUI substantial bodily harm or hit and run just bodily
And
harm.
they did that not that long ago, right? For that reason. Probably the last 20 years, right?
It's not a very old statute. So the moral of the story is don't leave the scene, even if you're drunk, because it's only going to make life more difficult for you.
And as long as, especially if like you hit the car and they get out and they're walking around and they're fine, right? No broken bones, no, none of that, you're good. But if you do the same thing and you leave,
Correct. And a lot of clients will get concerned about that. You guys have a civil aspect of your firm. You do lawsuits. So they'll say, oh, I got a letter from Cox and Wilson and they're suing me. And what do I do? And this is like if I'm handling the criminal side of the case. I'm like, all right, call your carrier.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to defend you. And then we walk through the do's and don'ts regarding that because on the defense side, we don't handle the civil defense side. That's why you pay insurance premiums. But that part isn't too much of a concern because, as you know, and you guys could talk about it a lot more, like soft tissue issues and things like that occur at a later date. So the prosecution has the authority and the ability to upgrade a charge from a misdemeanor DUI to a felony DUI. But what I tell clients is overwhelming majority of the time, they book you on the higher charge. So if you've been booked and arrested on a misdemeanor, no injury, even if later they claim injuries, unless it was something substantial, you're pretty safe as far as them keeping it there, but that's not going to keep the lawyers from suing you and your billion-dollar insurance carrier.
right?
One more thing in the video you said too, I thought was interesting. This supposedly trained lawyer says, I like how I have to answer your questions, but you don't have to answer mine, which you said that's how it works. Like that's how it works. The cops owe you no information. We see this in a lot of videos we watch where what am I charged with? I'm not going to give you my ID till you tell me. It's like, no, you just got to hand it over. If they're in the wrong, you can prove it later and, potentially get that out. But it just doesn't work like that. You have to answer the cops' questions. You don't have to, but if you are going to, a lot of times they don't give you information. They don't tell you. You just...
The simple rule is if you have interaction with a law enforcement officer, be respectful, don't answer their questions, but identify yourself. Simple traffic ticket, license, registration. Now, here's the thing. As a trained criminal defense lawyer, if I'm speeding and I get pulled over, license, registration, yeah, absolutely, here you go. Hey, what were you doing? What's speeding, blah, blah, blah. I'd answer those. Why? Because I want to show remorse and that I'm not just some kind of jerk because they have discretion to issue you a ticket. But if you know you've been drinking or you got dope in the car or any other kind of situation, they come to your house, there's an argument with your wife, oh, I didn't touch her or whatever, she didn't touch me. Like, shut your mouth. I mean, what do we got here? Yeah, don't talk
Yours
to
just says
I just got
Sorry.
Tangled. Tangled
Sorry,
rights.
sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, this one's
and it's
mine.
empty too. What was that about?
And this one,
Austin.
But yeah, absent like a minor traffic violation where you're like, hey, let me just be respectful to him. He's just doing his job. Yeah, I was speeding. My bad. Here you go. Like,
yeah.
I'll body cam, right? You have those like a constitutionalists or whatever. Like, I'm not identifying myself, and you'll see the YouTube videos, and they get a lot of clicks because it's clickbait, right? It's interesting. I'm not rolling down my window and da-da-da. Cool. That works 1 in a million times. And if you have all that free time in your life and all that energy just to get in random arguments with cops, I feel bad for you.
They always cut off the video before they get arrested too. And it says like, federal attorney owns cops. And it's like, what is a federal attorney? What are you talking about? So
you never
They're
know.
a federal attorney.
well,
Yeah.
unless
You have that kind of disposable income too. You're like
Licensed.
unless you have somebody who wants to sue the
I
federal
went down and signed a
government.
book.
Yeah.
Did you do that?
That old book
sign a book, to get my bar license?
No, in the federal courthouse
to get licensed in federal court. They have a really old book that all the attorneys
dude,
over
it's an
decades have
old
signed.
I must have because I remember being in federal court with 2 of my good friends. One practices civil, one practices criminal, and doing going in there and being sworn in because you don't take like a separate bar exam for that. I must have signed it. Do I recall that part of the day? No.
It's been practicing 17 years, guys.
Yeah.
Probably went out and
17.
partied after that. So
Hell yeah. My boy likes to party. I love that. What about when cops are dicks? Like in that same scenario, like I got pulled over coming back from the prison I was going 94 and a 70. My truck wasn't really paying attention. Just kind of, you know, that part where it's like a slow downgrade.
Yeah, you don't have cruise control in your car? You never
I
heard of
do,
that?
but I wasn't using it. I was fucking around with my radio. I don't know. Anyway,
Okay.
he pulls me over and he comes up and I'm, you know, hands at 10 and 2, windows all rolled down,
Yeah.
whatever.
They get weirded out when you do that sometimes. You
I
ever
do
have
it-
that? I do the 10 and 2, and I'm like, can I get my license? And the guy, I've had a cop like, what are you doing? I'm like, following the rules?
And when they say that to me, I'm like, look, I'm not getting shot in the face today, is what I say.
Yeah, I don't turn up the volume that
I
high,
turned the
but-
volume all the way to the top. But anyway, so he comes up and I can't remember exactly what he said, but he was like, where was the emergency? And I'm like, what? Emergency? And he goes, yeah, people have emergencies sometimes. And I figured since you were going 94 and a 70, you must be having one. And I was like, no, I wasn't. I was thinking he was just being funny.
Yeah,
and it just went from there. He's
So
being a
how would
fucking
I
dick.
interact or advise?
Yeah, what would you do?
I mean, listen.
Because I
I'm
gave
not-
it back to him.
Yeah, I'm not perfect by any means, but
You seem like it.
yeah. Yeah. But I question authority, challenge authority, local government, state governments, the United States government. Each and every day is part of my career. That's what I'm paid to do. So in my personal life, when I come home, I want peace, I want tranquility, and I don't want the drama. So, you know, am I going to sit here and say that next time I get pulled over, I'm going to be perfect? No. But at the same time, they have the authority and they have the discretion to say, you know what? You had a bad day. All right, get out of here. Just be careful next time. And I think that's a lot more relaxing. Like, you know, am I in a position now financially in my life where I can pay for a ticket? Like, I don't care. Like, whatever. Like, that's not going to mean anything to me. Does my gut still drop? Like, I've got a kilo in my car when I see the lights. And I'm like, oh,
back
what
in
did I
the day,
do?
right?
Yeah, I'm like, what's going on, right? You know,
Pass
absolutely.
the statute of limitations, boys.
Absolutely. I mean, that's just still a natural reaction. So no, I'm not welcoming it. And you know, I believe that generally, not always, you get back the energy that you put out there.
Sure.
So I would do what you did, which is like, if he was being that funny, I'd probably just start laughing. I generally do that in most situations. I'm kind of a goofy guy when I'm outside of court and I like to have a good time. But once I get to a point where I'm realizing like, okay, like he does not give a shit. What can I do? Get in an argument with him? It's like, I just sit there like, okay, write your ticket. That's probably the rudest thing I would say. Like, write your citation, because I know if he's already that turned up, he might turn it up even to a point where he does something violent to me, which, again, to be clear, I don't think cops go out and do that each and every day looking for people. I know a lot of people will disagree with me, fine, disagree with me, I don't care. But it's just like road rage incidents, right? Like, I'm a CCW carrier, I have a firearm, especially here in Vegas.
Gang, gang.
Did you get a sound effect for that?
That was just me.
There you go. So, yeah, you're the sound effect board. But you don't know who you're dealing with, whether it's a cop, whether it's Joe Blow in the street. And that's kind of how I live my life. I don't know who that person is, what they're dealing with that day. They might have a sick kid at home. They might have terminal cancer. They might look like the perfect human being with the bow tie suit earlier you checked on, and they're an absolute nutcase, and they're in distress.
There's a movie with Michael Douglas from like the
Falling down.
Yes.
Yeah. That.
Fucking. Oh, I didn't know it was your rock. I'll leave.
Yeah, we're giving out a lot. Okay, we got Godfather, Falling Down,
Carlito's Way.
and then Carlito's Way,
And then Soylent Green.
Soylent Green. But that's not the title of the movie. What's the title of Soylent Green?
I don't remember either.
We'll find that soon here. But yeah, those are all like, if you got a Netflix and chill this weekend, those are all.
That's the name of the movie.
Oh, it is Soylent
It is called Soylent Green.
Oh, it is Soylent Green. Okay, that's
Roger
just
Fleischer.
1973.
yeah. But it was based off like George. Who wrote it? Who wrote the book?
Fleischer.
I'm thinking of 1984.
Richard Fleischer is the director of the movie.
74 is
Well,
Yeah,
so I
H.G.
thought,
Wells is.
I thought he wrote it, or it's kind
Orson
of
Welles. Yeah, sorry.
Orson Welles
was
kind of close.
1984.
We're way off. What was? Were you asking me a question? Or were we just
Oh,
rambling?
it was. We were talking about people that you don't know what they're
Oh yeah,
going
yeah,
through.
falling down. Yeah, that's a perfect example of a guy that wasn't having a great day. And sometimes you just got to show a little bit of grace because you don't know what people are going on. And I think that's important just from a human aspect, because whether we agree or disagree politically, religion, whatever it may be, like, we're all humans at the end of the day. We all want to get home safe to our families. And even if it's selfishly. If you're the type of person that you don't like somebody's opinion and you think they're a bad person because they have their opinion, fine. I think that's insane, but you do you. But at the same time, just for self-preservation, you have no idea if that person is one bird being flipped or one whatever it is from literally pulling out a firearm and ending your life. And it happens every day, just not here in Vegas or wherever. So yeah, like I said, I am not perfect. I've gotten in arguments, but the more and more that I have to fight every single day in the courtroom with my suit on, and that's usually what I say to people now. I'm like, I get paid to argue.
No.
Outside, I try to shut that switch off and be chill, and that's not my energy anymore.
Said the same thing. At work, I argue the whole time. It's just like we're always fighting about something. In the gym, training, I fight all the time. Like, I don't want friction in my personal life. We're going to have it because we're human, but at the same time, I just want to live a normal. What? Are you smiling?
You just want
He never has friction.
You just want friction on the mat when you're
I do.
greasing up and wrestling, right?
I do. You should come.
What do you do? Jiu-jitsu? Or what do you do?
BJJ, Muay Thai, and MMA.
Yeah, that's badass stuff. I did Kempo for 8 years.
Chinese? Or Korean?
Korean.
Korean Kempo's nice.
I believe it's Korean. Okay, don't misquote me. It was United Studios of Self-Defense. They got a lot of places here in Vegas. They're huge in California. I did that from 8 to 16 years old. Did tournaments. Loved that stuff. And
spinning back kick to the face.
But
one 8-year-old yeets another 8-year-old. Those videos are crazy.
Yeah, not that kind of energy. But no, it was great. It taught me a lot of discipline, and that was well before UFC. It was well before martial arts was cool. Like now, it's like, oh, you're in martial arts. Like everybody does it. I didn't tell many people because even my close friends, they would like tease us. But it was great. I'm glad I did it. It teaches you discipline, and I think any man, woman, maybe not child, but any man or woman, kids fight, should reasonably be in a position if they feel like they have to defend themselves that they've got some kind of chance.
Well, I find it also very nice because people talk to me about stuff and they're like, oh, this fucking sucks, blah, blah, blah. Or like you with golf. Like, do you know what it's like to have a 14-year-old on your back that's about to take your neck and there's nothing you can do about it, even though he weighs 112 pounds? It sucks, right? You don't feel like as frustrated or whatever as you do in those moments. So like anything else, it helps to diminish the noise in stuff that is really not that serious, right? Whereas like I remember the first day, this kid named KC, shout out, he's a really good brown belt. He puts me in what's called a crucifix. So I'm held like this.
I know what a crucifix is.
So he's got my arm with his arm, and he's got my other arm with his legs, and he's just smothering me. He's literally. And
you got it from?
Yes, that's where I got it from. I learned it from KC. And so for 3 minutes, I sat there, and he just would periodically, and you can't breathe.
Yeah, that
the noise on all this other shit does get turned down, and I think just from that, not to mention the physical fitness element of it, because it's very hard to do and it keeps you in shape. Just the perspective of like, oh, I'm in traffic. I can't fucking believe it. I'm with my day. And you're like, oh, no one's choking me right now. Yeah, this sucks, but like, it's okay.
You got to find calming techniques. I mean, that's for sure. I
have to get strangled to get. Other people can just,
People pay for that.
I think jiu-jitsu is amazing, honorable. It's something that I'm like, I'd like to try that. But as we know, life is busy. We make priorities. But my release, absent my family, is hockey. So I play beer league hockey.
Do you guys fuck each other up?
It seems like every other week I've got to sleep on a different side of my body because of my shoulder or something like that happens or whatever. Because
awesome.
It's not a checking league like you see, in the NHL. But yeah, people do get hit. Yeah,
hip checking and stuff.
People hit. Like it's not intentional. Or like if somebody's
you're
got
not
the
like
puck
cross checking and like lighting people up into the boards and shit.
It happens, but no, it's not. It's not legal.
Okay. You're like, we don't check.
Yeah, so
it does happen.
Yeah, it does. No, it happens, but it's not.
Skating's hard. Skating is hard.
That's a workout by itself. If you just said, "Oh, we're going to skate in circles for what are the 20-minute periods?"
Yeah, it's an hour. I mean, you're doing shifts. 1 to 2 minutes. But yeah, it's an excellent workout. It's a great mind distressor. Sometimes I'll be on the bench, catching my breath, and then you start thinking about work, and I got to slap myself. I'm like, bro, you got like 1 hour a week where like you don't have to think about this at all. Now I want more than 1 hour a week, but when you love what you do, and you guys know you run your own practice, and you have clients' lives that are in your hands, money, compensation, freedom, all the gambit. Like, I would love to know how to completely turn it off, but it's just not possible.
Mushrooms.
He's wrestling. He's got mushrooms.
What a
segue. We always end with the listener question, and most times they come from Austin because he always listens to us.
Did you do your job
Is
today?
it this one? Is this your question, Austin?
It's not mine. It's one that I found.
Okay.
So, yeah.
It's a dumb question.
That's because I like hearing. Because sometimes they're dumb, but then they bring out like good.
If I kill someone in my dream, can I be charged if I talk about it? We're giving you this question.
Wow, that is dumb.
It is a dumb question.
So we don't live in Minority Report. Okay.
Another great banger. Oh my gosh. I know we're overusing banger right
Do
now.
you
but
even
that-
Tom Cruise, bro?
yeah, I was waiting for somebody to bring a movie that does suck, but that's a good movie. Very relevant to crime and police states.
Pre-crime, and that's what that would be.
Yeah.
Is like a thought crime.
At least
And
I don't know
not.
if any of these movies are going to get you lucky this weekend, but it's definitely good movies to watch.
Tom Cruise is really good looking too. So
Hey,
you know, it's a
might
short guy though. Not really. If I swang that way, I don't think I'd go for.
It doesn't matter.
I'm more of a Jason Momoa guy, I think.
Okay.
Hold me in his big strong hands and strangle me. I think he does jits too, doesn't he? Or he's just 6'4" and a fucking monster. Either way,
looks
whatever.
like a guy.
So no, you can't be charged, right? Short
No,
answer.
I don't know. It was so dumb. I got to hear it again.
You murder somebody dream. You
Yes.
talk about it. Can you get in trouble?
I mean,
Can you be charged even with a crime?
I would say
crime?
that I think that's an obvious no. You don't need to attend undergrad for 4 years and law school for 3 years and pay $100,000 or more. And
I was gonna say 100,000. Holy shit! Where'd you go? Fucking lucky.
Six
I said
figures.
or
Six
more.
figures.
Six,
Six figures.
six figure. I went 17 years ago, but yeah, my student loans before I paid them off was well in excess of that. What, you don't pay it off?
No,
Oh,
Not yet.
yeah.
they weren't even gathering interest for a while, and I thought fucking Daddy Biden was gonna forgive him. Why would I fucking pay him off?
You're waiting for Metro.
Oh, Metro's gonna pay.
There you go.
something.
No, best day of my life paying those off. But with that being said, no, you can't be charged for having a dream or chit chatting about it. But I guess besides, whoa, I had a weird dream last night. You start posting about it online. You start getting to a point in which you're obsessive about it and making it seem like it's a threat. Then you're going to have issues.
Or an idea and a plan.
Yeah.
Because that's where my head went. Like you start talking about this and the wrong person overhears you and they don't hear the first part. You know, they walk into the room in the copier where you're, oh man, dude, I had this crazy dream where I did this crazy thing. Like, let's say, especially with given the nature right now of like, you know, the news and everything with what happened to Charlie Kirk. Let's say it's a dream like that. You know, you see this and you just have a weird dream about a celebrity or a politician and they only hear the back end of it.
Well, I think
And Becky calls the cops, as she should, if she hears Shane saying he's going to shoot somebody. And then you got real problems.
I got 2 points on that to close. One, yeah, I agree with the climate we're in, people getting assassinated for political beliefs, psychopaths cheering that on. And you're going to get more people that are like, you know what? I don't care if he's joking anymore. I am going to call. And then you're going to get the United States federal agent knocking on your door saying, hey, we got a warrant. We read all your texts. We read all your Discord. We read all that. And maybe you didn't do anything wrong. And maybe they can't charge you. But you're going to be calling a lawyer and you're going to be spending a lot of money over running your mouth over something stupid. So I'm all for
you're gonna
freedom
have a
of
real bad
speech.
day.
But yeah, what's that? You're going to have a bad day. You're going to have a bad day. And one other thing, because you know what? I stand corrected. It's not a stupid question because just today, I learned about a case that is actually really relevant to that. I was in court for a murder case that I had for a sentencing argument. And I look over and I'm speaking to a prosecutor and we see a young lady that we like half jokingly said couldn't be more than 50 pounds. Like this girl looked light and tiny and she kind of had the goth vibes. She didn't match the in custody on the murder calendar, which is usually men. So when you see women, you're already kind of like, And then you saw her like small frame, dainty, whatever you want to call it. And I was just like, what the heck?
Though she is small, she is mighty.
Is she's yeah. So supposedly, and I didn't read the report, so this is just a conversation that I had amongst colleagues today because I didn't sit around for her arguments or whatever was going on. But apparently, it was during a photo shoot, and she was holding a gun or whatever it may be, and her boyfriend. And if you guys look this up and I'm wrong on the facts, fine, get me. Like this is
It happens all the time.
They
It
will.
happens all the
They're
time.
going to drag you.
This is
Wait, you said left and it was right, but everything else was correct, you moron.
So this is a bit of hearsay, but not my case. But my understanding is that her boyfriend was doing a photo shoot. She had a gun. It was part of the photo shoot. Whatever. Ends up shooting and killing him. And I believe at first brush, the law enforcement was like, hey, this is, you're giving me that look, wait till the end. There's a cherry that's going to go right on top of this thing. Hey, maybe this is an accident. Then they go to her social media, talk about her like fantasizing, dreaming, talking about like killing somebody. And then the cherry on top, ladies and gentlemen, is her dad is a legitimate serial killer in prison in another state.
Oh,
Yeah.
I haven't seen that one in the news.
Right? You would think.
I haven't seen that one
so
in the
maybe,
news.
Yeah,
maybe,
when is Netflix?
maybe the colleague of mine was just spinning my chain this morning, but I was eating it all up.
When's Netflix getting a hold of that one? Because that sounds.
Well, tell us who it was off the air, and we'll we'll figure out.
I
if
gotta
they're
find it.
lying or not.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming in, man. We appreciate it.
This was awesome.
Yeah, it was great. We should do it again. You probably because we didn't even get to like what I wanted to know was some of your craziest stories, but we don't have time for that.
No,
so
this was a lot of fun.
Come back again and I want to hear
do
some
it.
of your wild shit because you got 17 years of it. I'm sure you've seen some nutty stuff.
I have. It's changed me as a person for better and worse. I don't know.
All right, well, we'll get into that next time. Thank
All
you
right.
again.
Peace.
See you guys.